Aaron, thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll open things up with Mike Finn. Go ahead, Mike.
Congratulations, Aaron, on your Big Ten championship. Can you talk about the difference a year makes from what happened last year to winning the Big Tens and not going to the NCAAs to this year?
I think a year plays a big difference. Obviously more mature in my wrestling and better mindset. And like I said, in post-interview, Big Ten championships was, remembering why I'm wrestling. I think just mindset and going into that makes a big difference. So a year for me has been a great opportunity to grow, not only as a wrestler, but as a man and in faith.
How disappointed were you from last year not being able to wrestle?
Obviously it's unfortunate. That's the part of the season you train the hardest for. And, you want to be able to compete and go out there and show people, what you're capable of and go glorify God. So whenever it's being taken away, obviously, it's hard on you. But what we have now is another opportunity to go do that.
Thank you, Aaron.
Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, we've heard Kale talk a lot about the freshmen and just how special, he thinks they are. From your perspective, what's impressed you about what you've seen from them?
I would just say the way they compete. They love to compete. They love to go out there and relax and wrestle. So when you see that in young guys, it's very rare. A lot of times we put pressure on ourselves when we first get to college. So just the fact that they can put all that stuff to the side and just go do what they love to do is what stands out to me the most.
Andy Elder, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, I was just wondering, going into a tournament, the number one seed, how does that change your perspective or how you prepare or your mindset?
It doesn't. Wrestling's wrestling. Whoever seeding, it's numbers. Just like rankings, whenever you're not ranked number one, you have the same mindset. So I think if you allow it to change your mindset, you're kind of doing the wrong thing, So just focusing on wrestling, what got you there, and whoever's in front of you, you focus on that match by match.
Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, obviously this was Brady's first tournament in, I think, close to over a year. And obviously he qualified for NCAAs, given all that he's been through and sort of what you've seen from him, what's impressed you about what you've seen from Brady?
Just grit, he's been faced with a lot of adversity and that most people wouldn't want to come back from. And his love for the sport it outshines all the adversity he's been through. So I said, that's just amazing to see the resilience in him and just to be able to go out there after all he's been through and still compete and have fun with it is, it says something about his character.
Andy?
Aaron, you talked on Sunday about overcoming that injury you had on Saturday and how it was a test of your personal ability and your mindset. Having overcome that, how do you use that to your advantage going into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's a great advantage whenever you are able to bounce back from something mid-match or, deal with adversity in a tournament. I just think it shows you kind of how much heart and showed me how much heart I truly have. And because, we have those negative thoughts, like before a match, I'm like, man, my ankle, like I really can't move this way. But to go out there and to still perform and to get the job done, it just it lets you know, like, hey, I can still do this with adversity. So when adversity comes in the future, it's like, I've done this before, and let's just keep this positive mindset and we'll go get it done.
Andy, or actually we'll go to Jake right now. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, Aaron, so obviously, you didn't get an NCAA tournament last year, but, obviously Nick and Roman and those guys have competed at NCAAs. I mean, have they talked to you at all about, like, if there's any big difference between competing at the Big Tens versus competing at NCAAs and things like that?
Yeah, those guys, they give advice. It's my first, like you said, NCAA tournament as well. I think the main thing they tell you is don't change up anything now. What's gotten you there. It's a bigger stage, but that doesn't mean you got to wrestle different. It's just be yourself and go out there and have fun, and the rest will do its job.
Again, please raise your hand if you have a question for Aaron. Andy, if you still have something, you can go ahead.
Aaron, having been through a tournament with a limited amount of fans in the stands and not as much electricity and excitement as normal, what did you learn from that? And what would you take into the NCAAs with a similar atmosphere coming up?
I can hear my coaches a lot better, so that's a positive. That's mainly what I noticed. Other than that, you're in the zone, you're wrestling, but with a lot of fans and a lot of outside noise, sometimes it might be hard to hear the instructions from the corners. But I heard every word, so that's the main thing.
Mike Willis.
Hey, Aaron. The Olympic team trials are less than a month away. What does peaking for both the NCAAs and then the Olympic pretty shortly after look like for you?
After NCAAs, not coming back in the room and going hard, taking a little break, whether it's a couple of days, just to relax my body and get my mind back on track. So I would say not overdoing it just because it's right around the corner, but allowing myself to rest. The NCAA tournament is you get a lot of matches in with the best guys in the country, so you got to make sure you're looking out for your body and not kind of forcing yourself ahead just to feel prepared.
Elton Hayes, you can go ahead next.
Hey, Aaron, thanks for the time this morning. It's listening to you speak, you're a guy who, you're not ashamed about wearing your faith on your sleeve. I wanted to just ask you what role that plays, in your wrestling. You mentioned that adversity that you faced on Saturday with the injury. How did your faith kind of, how did you channel that? What role does it play in you?
For me, it's everything. Like I said, the biggest difference from last year to this year is, me putting God first. And versus last year when I was competing, a lot of times, we get caught up in things like media and the outside factors of winning and losing. But, when I put God first, that's my peace to go wrestle and do what he's blessed me to do. And when I know that's why I'm here, there's no pressure, I'm relaxed. It's like, regardless what happens, God's given me everything to be a light for fans and for my loved ones back at home and my family. So, just thinking that way and with that mindset and just going out there to wrestle for him, there's no pressure because I know regardless of what happens, it's going to bring me closer to him and it's only going to elevate me as a man, which obviously helps my wrestling. But I would just say peace. That's where I'm able to just go out there and put my faith in him and let it fly. And that's when you see the miracles. That's when you see the best me, is whenever I'm relaxed. So
Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron. So, I know you and Greg spent some time out in Colorado Springs under Kevin Jackson and at the Olympic Training Center. How important was that for you, and how have you seen Greg grow, from those days out in Colorado Springs to now?
I'd say the Colorado Springs experience was amazing for me and both him as well. Like we were on our own for the first time. We're both young, 17, 18 years old. So, dealing with that kind of molds you to just becoming a man, but as well as that, just when it comes to the wrestling aspect, just becoming more professional, I think it's helped us out a lot. And just on those aspects, it helps your game whenever you're more professional at a younger age. You don't see that a lot. And that's why you see a lot of guys take these learning curves, but when you can be professional at a young age, which is what the OTC kind of taught us, then you'll have earlier success in your career. So blessed for that.
Elton, if you still have something, you can go ahead.
Sorry about that. I forgot to take my hand down.
No worries. Are there any guys who put your hand up? Are there any further questions for Aaron this morning? All right. Seeing no further questions. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us today. Safe travels and best of luck. We'll look forward to seeing you in St. Louis.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.